Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Nanomix's channel, Mobile Diagnostics Without Compromise. We always have the pleasure to be joined by David, the Chief Executive Officer. Welcome back.
Oh, it's always so great to talk with you and reach our investors. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and just to dive down under the hood of Nanomix today, I really want to get into kind of balance sheet, cap structure, a little bit more recent news as well. And this should offer a lot of clarity moving forward to anybody that's obviously interested in a Nanomix. But today, I just wanted to kind of get into some frameworking with the balance sheet. I mean, you're sitting for Q1, you released about 1.15 million assets, 8.7 million liabilities. You've been doing a lot of security deals here. There was a 3 million securities purchase agreement with GHS Investments. Can you kind of just framework us what's going on here? I mean, you guys are looking to uplist. There's a lot going on, so kind of give us some clarity here.
Good questions. Remember that Nanomix is a company that's now transitioning from being an R&D company to being a commercial company, and so therefore the financing structure and the balance sheet are all driven around this idea of continuing to invest in the framework and the infrastructure of the business, beginning to reach into the commercial market, and also then bring on the growth capital that's necessary to take this company from the place where it is today to a highly revenue producing profitable company. So to do that, we've done a combination of debt financing, which we did in conjunction with the reverse merger a year ago. That's the most of the liabilities that you talk about sitting on the balance sheet. We've also entered into a convertible equity arrangement with GHS that you mentioned, and we've taken $500,000 of that. There's $2.5 million to come, and that's to continue to fund the business and the growth of our reach into the marketplace. Again, as you noted, the thing that we're really looking to do here, while we're happy to be uplisted onto the OTCQB exchange, we really want to bring the company within the next year onto NASDAQ and increase the visibility and liquidity associated with the stock by doing an uplist and associated with that a public offering of the securities as well.
And actually, just speaking about some of your outstanding shares here, do you want to give a little bit of idea behind that cap structure when you're talking about insider versus institutional and retail ownership?
Right. So we have about 46 million shares outstanding today. Insiders, board of directors, affiliates own a little bit more than 50% of the company. And that really comes from the historical support that we've gotten from a couple of very major shareholders who continue to be our support and help guide the company into the future. One of the challenges that we're working on due to this reverse merger is liquidity in the stock. So the legacy shareholders that came in via the reverse merger have restricted stock. It was never the restrictions were never removed by the prior company, and the merger itself and the financing associated with this were Reg D filings, which means that they are also considered private transactions and restricted. So what we have is 46 million shares outstanding. We have about 10% of that's available to public float right now. We're in the process of filing a selling shareholders S1 registration statement that will remove the restrictions from a lot of those historical smaller shareholders, and I think will increase the tradable securities by maybe another 10 million shares or so. In concert with that, we're also in a very active program to reach out to current investors and potential investors about the company's story, about our prospects, and the really important position that we have in the medical community and the healthcare system.
I think that's very insightful. I really appreciate that. Maybe just zooming in a little bit, get a little bit more focused here. I mean, you also received an IVDR certification for eLab Analyzer. Do you want to talk a little bit about that as well in the recent news?
Right. Well, for those people who are not familiar with this, the CE marking process, which is used in Europe, but is also used by many other countries around the world, that process is undergoing a fundamental shift into what's referred to now as IVDR. That's a new set of regulations for approval for products that go into those CE markets. There's some significant time-based elements of that, and getting the analyzer itself registered and certified underneath the new regulations, IVDR, was something that had to be accomplished in May, and we did that. And what that allows us then is to continue marketing that product under this new set of regulations in those CE territory. So in a very important item. I would also note importantly that we recently announced the addition of a whole blood sample to our critical infection panel. That's something that customers have been telling us is really essential to for their use of the product. As I've said in the past, and we're continuing now, we have two large ongoing customer evaluations underway, one in the UK and one in Spain, and they're really going to be the first significant customers for the company. Also, we're very active now in dealing with other potential distributors and clients throughout that CE community. And finally, of course, we need to remember to focus on the US market, and we are developing an FDA filing for our critical infection panel, and we plan to have that submitted in the next few weeks.
I really appreciate your time today, David. I think you've offered a lot of different perspectives across the board of your business today. And I want to pass the question off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you guys think about all of this in that comment section below. And as always, consider subscribing, because as news continues to come down the wire, as we see these catalysts come into play over time, we'll of course update you here. But on that note, stay cool, stay awesome. And as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.